By walking in, you've agreed to suspend your disbelief, okay? To step outside of your comfort zones, and we're going to help you, we're going to ease you in to this imagination space. UNESCO listed futures literacy as one of their top 4 competencies for the 21st century, and that's not just for designers or for architects, but for everyone. When I read about this, I sort of couldn't quite believe that it wasn't inbuilt into any kind of education system in the UK, and certainly not within kind of higher education or even for designers. Welcome everyone to this, a gathering of minds, a meeting of souls, an assembly of ideas. The first ever workshop brought to you by us, the Office for Collective Imagining. We are gathered here today, together as a team, myself, Trudy, and Co, and a crack squad of ambassadors. We're here to practice futures together, to imagine different tomorrows, to help us better understand today. For those that don't know me, which is probably most of you, I'm Gem Barton. I'm going to be your navigator, your time travel agent, your story maker. I'm going to guide you and your imagination through a future scenario, through an imaginary world. Last night's scenario was inspired by kind of speculative policy making. The Office for Collective Imagining took 14 groups of people to the year 2031. We played out a scenario where a new government organisation was initiating a brand new policy, a policy where all company leaders had to put human imagination first in their business. We took the 14 companies through a series of exercises that required them to respond, to discuss, to speculate, to imagine just how such a policy might affect their businesses. Today's collective imagining experiment focuses on embedding imagination into the world of working, into the rituals of employment and the spectacles of recruitment. What you are about to do is uncover the futures of jobs. You're about to uncover new careers, new progressions, professions, vocations, callings, occupations. You are about to discover what professions emerge when you focus on questions rather than solutions. After a short briefing, the companies were invited to open their envelopes, inside of which was a set of instructions along with a letter. The letter came from SHIB, which is the newly formed Socio-Human Innovation Bureau, a new bureau of the Department of Labour. They were writing to these company leaders asking for a response about how SHIB's newest policy, called Imagination First, would impact their company. Look, firstly, thank you for taking part in the experiment. And as we don't have long remaining for our session, I think it might be time for the truth. So, we're not from the OCI.
What? I'm fired?
You can stay. The OCI is a fictional construct, although the website is real. If you want to find out a little bit more about this. It's a research project that myself and Trudy and Co have been working on. And it's all about trying to understand the conditions for imagination, but more importantly, the infrastructures for collective imagining. This workshop is about jobs, okay, but it could be about anything. So I am Gem Barton, but I'm not from the OCI. I'm from the Royal College of Art in London, okay, and I'm here basically to do this, which is amazing, so thank you. And we're going to ask you to share a little about your experience today. We're going to try and focus the share on the emerging professions. I know you had 1,000 other amazing insights come up at your tables, and your ambassadors have been capturing them, and they'll be doing some work. Your work will continue beyond today, is the point. We'll also have access to your submitted forms, which we'll be using to inform our research going forward.
And so the new job we identified is the Chief Guru Officer. Someone who takes responsibility for opening minds and imaginations, and that person has a chief of staff because we can never know what state the guru is in.
And we didn't necessarily have like a composting guru per se or a name for it, but kind of just integrating composting into existing roles. Obviously compost pickup processing, but farming management, commercial applications, landscaping, development, using compost to fortify buildings and provide insulation, as well as like urban planning, preservationists, restaurants, botanists, coffee shops, stuff like that. So kind of just integrating composting into existing roles. So composting kings and queens, something like that.
Around epigenetic storytelling, so embedding secret information for future generations that can't be accessed, so that we would need agents, and we would need trainers, and what else are we going to talk about?
Oh, and chief worrywarts for how things can go wrong.
All right, so different scenario operations, and we were thinking about post-truth and how right now we're navigating a lot of media and information and transcripts that we can't unpack. So if we were to try to embed truth, how would that carry on? So we were thinking about embedding that in the same material that trauma usually carries on.
And we decided we would really need people who are very good tinkerers and good at figuring out how to use found materials. And we were going to train them by sending them to a deserted island for a year, their first year, and making them make do with nothing. Sign me up.
So we were MindBridge Therapeutics, and in a future where we're imagination first, we imagine that everything becomes important for folks working within the company, and so there need to be a sensory supervisor and sensory makers. These are things like DJs and folks that think about lights and ambiance and all the things that influence how we experience the work environment, because that would unlock all different parts of our brains and abilities to do the important work that we're doing.
Consultants over here. So we had a train wreck of brainstormed ideas. So I'm going to try to put them out there, and these guys can help me if I forget something. So degrow. Well, we thought, what if our purpose after this is to eliminate our own service by eliminating the need for some sort of citywide compost? And could we decentralize it? It could be like victory gardens. Could it be organized around elementary school catchment areas? And can new jobs be like, oh, I'm a neighborhood composting consultant and educator? I really wanted a team of children to be our imagination consultants, to figure out what we can do with things like banana peels that we haven't thought of, because we have degraded imaginations, but we'd have these children to help us. But they could also be paid to deliver parcels of compost on their bicycles, just like they would deliver newspapers in the olden days.
I'm glad you're paying them.
Pay them. I know, I got a lot of grief about child labor, but you know, children making reasonable economic contribution to households is the way children behave in lots of places other than the U.S. And so it could be honorable and safe and all of that. I'm supposed to also mention, did I get them all?
You did the bicycle compost.
Yeah, the bicycle compost delivery. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Again, we're the Mind Bridge Therapeutics, and like you mentioning the musical and the sensory, we also went in that space and we thought about, how do you, with the interdisciplinariness, like you could combine the psychedelics and hospitality and tourism, and it could be like cruises that are all, everybody's doing psychedelics and XR/VR this one, journey support, psychedelic Sherpas, and then forest baths where it's psychedelics and forest stewards, and psychedelics and artists and musicians, and mainstreaming it into K through 12 somehow. But it was interesting when you mentioned the tinkerers. I got little kids and they watch a lot of TV, more TV than I want to admit. But Tinkerbell, there's shows about Tinkerbells. They're all little tinkers. They know how to move things and reuse and recycle. And it's this like child perspective that you guys were talking about, getting the kids to work for us. No. I'm kidding. I try to do that all day long, but it doesn't work. We can't control people. But anyway, thank you. This is really fun.
And so our kind of world is that imagination has left. We're trying to get away from AI and machines and kind of move towards human-centered designs and bringing humans back into the design phase and into like assembling the cars. And so our designers are called Imagineers. They're just there to generate new ideas, not beholden to AI and all that. Head recyclist is just somebody who goes out and tries to sustainably recycle and dispose of materials. We have an ethical resourcer, an experience sculptor, which is our mechanics, just a cool name for mechanic, and our crafters, which are also mechanics. So yeah.
Amazing. You have a whole org chart.
Yeah, we went from A to Z and we're like, everybody who works, let's rename them. Make them feel special.
Obviously this is like a play environment, but like what does that do for you as a team, imagining that new company to like, you're coming up with new roles, but also simply renaming things? I'm just curious.
I feel like it gives new importance to these roles, and instead of like when you think of mechanic, you just think of somebody who goes in there and fixes the car. But giving them names like crafters kind of almost adds imagination into the role, making them think imaginatively in the beginning.
What do you think would be different for mechanics if they got promoted? Or
I think if you pay people better, no matter what, they just want to work better and make better, and giving them a special name and maybe giving them a special role, in the end makes special things.